Hey, how's it going, Internet? So, today I think we're going to work on spawning some monsters into the game. Now, um, I already have some of the pieces in place for monsters, similar to the work that I did for static objects previously. And since the last video, I've done a few other things like improved the look speed, um, like when you're moving the mouse around on the client. I've added scale to both the client and server. But today, with the monster spawning, I think it's going to be more on the server side, which is something I haven't really shown so far. So I guess let's start by making a new class. Hmm. All right. Probably just need one monster spawner. And I'll probably hook it up to a timer. That seems like a reasonable thing to do. But first, let's look at... Yep, okay, this will work. So I'm just going to go ahead and create the spawner in here. Been doing too much C++. There we go. Let's just make a start method. And stop. Okay. All right, so before I do that, I will say oh, forgot to make this static. There we go. And I forgot to make those public. Differing language semantics. The struggle is real. Alright, and then after that, I will stop. Because run should go until the server ends, essentially. Now, if the whole thing's aborted, then it's going to stop anyway, so that's fine. But we'll put that in there so it shuts down cleanly under normal circumstances. Changed my mind. I'm just going to go ahead and put this after that. There we go. Yeah, that should do it. All right. It's been a minute since I've used a timer. There used to be a couple different classes, and one was a form control, and I don't want to use that one. make this public just because void equals tick. Private and timer equal new system. Actually, I'll just leave this guy alone for now. I do need the type though. I should clean this up and put that up when I'm using. System timers timing. Yeah, let's use that one instead. I think I'll actually just initialize it in place too. Okay, I was wrong. I thought there was 2 timers. I guess there's 3. Ugh. All right. Okay. And I'm going to take tick out because I'm going to just let the event be generated. So in the timer, I think there's an elapsed event on this one. Yeah, here we go. That's not what I want to do. There we go. I'm just going to change this to unelapsed. So we do that in timer interval. I think this is milliseconds. Let me bust out the calculator here. I want this to respawn, let's say, every 30 minutes. So 60 seconds in a minute. This is milliseconds, so times 1,000. Okay. And then down here, m timer enable true, m timer false. All right. Is there 4 timers? Man, I need to consolidate that or something. I know there's backwards compatibility, but that's getting a little ridiculous. Okay, well, anyways. Got this, so world. I think it's where I stored everything. Cool. Okay. Now value monsters. That's what I care about. So I'm gonna give this guy some properties. We don't have different types yet, so I'm just gonna implement like an overall cap. So let's see here. Call this long, and I'll say observation limit. Set this to 4,000. What's it complaining about here? Cannot apply operator to operands uint and long. Your int and ulong. Yeah, I guess if I can't contain any more than that anyways. I'm setting the population limit lower than that anyhow, so that's probably fine. Okay. All right. So if it's less than that's a good point. I don't think I actually want this to be 30 minutes because let's make it like 30 seconds. Because we don't want, like, if the population got completely removed, we wouldn't want it like a full half hour. Before it spawned more, and we can have separate limits for specific types, so that's not a problem. We just want to make sure that the overall population doesn't go past this limit. Okay. Concurrent Dictionary. I need to think about how I want to handle the monsters' IDs. realistically, I could reuse IDs. There's no particular reason that I can't. That's going to tie in with death logic, though. So I'll leave that alone for now. Private. This is current ID is equal to that. So I come down here. I'm going to say right. Okay, so I don't actually want to do it like this. I was just gonna pass this and then it would be incremented after the fact. So then we'd get the right one each time, which would be fine, except I also need to plug it into the monster and then I'd probably have to do like a decrement and some other stuff. So I'm not gonna do it that way. I will do this. I'll say current ID. What else did I set in this constructor? Those are okay being 0. I'm going to set the rotation and scale to 1 though, so we don't end up with any funky business happening. Those being 0 is fine. Type is abstract, which is what I want. Okay, that should be fine then. So I'm going to do this. And then I won't commit. Keep bumping the wrong key there. All right. So it's going to start up. It's going to tick every 30 seconds. This wouldn't give me an update on the client though. All right, I'm going to need another queue then. Listener state. There's a typoed it now, it's not gonna autocomplete for me. Concurrent queue. I should be able to just use the ID. Not that it hurts to pass the references around. would be different when I have to do like death searches. And basically reuse IDs. I don't think that's an issue though. All right. Oop. That's what happens when I program late, fat fingering everything. Would have made this video earlier, but I was having issues with my webcam and my computer blue screened too. It's probably a good indication that I need to. Oh, I forgot to put public on the constructor. I've gotten used to C++ where I just mark a section and then everything under that is that scope. Not really sure which is better, but you get used to one or the other. Alright, so that's fixed. Monster change queue. Would I want to use this for everything? I think I'm just gonna call this the move queue, because I don't want to send packets to everyone for all the possible state changes. I only want to do this one, so let's go that route. Alright, so I did the thing, and then I'm gonna say, oops. In queue. And it's gonna be monster.id. Okay, so this, actually, I want to put this in a helper method, and I'll clean it up later. Spawn new monster. What did I actually call this class? Listener state. Okay, listener state, listener state. Do that, and that means I can take these out. Looping over all of the sections. Actually, I don't want to do this way. I want to do it this way. The reason why I switched that around is when I have this else case, like if I've already used all of the IDs, I think that's the point when I would start like reusing monster IDs, So I'm just gonna put a to in here. Use monster. Because if I'm already at the cap, then there's no reason to do that search. Which I wonder how long would it take to hit the cap? Assuming that players aren't killing them off as soon as they spawn. Let's see. Every 30 seconds times 4,000. Really big number. So that's... Nope, that's not the right way to do that, man. So it's... This is what happens when I try to do math on a weekend. So it would be, all right, so that's how many seconds it would take to get the 4,000. Let's divide that by 60, get me in minutes. Okay, divided by 60 again, get me in hours. So 33 hours. So yeah, a lot of the time I won't have to, depending on how often I restart the server, I may not actually have to do that very often. Okay. Good to know. It's something I'll have to code for eventually though, because I assume I'm going to leave the server up for weeks, months, however long at a time. It's part of the reason why I'm using managed over here is I don't have to worry about memory fragmentation. It'll just sort of take care of itself. There's some obvious downsides though too. Without the explicit memory control, and there's like some performance implications of that, and the garbage collector can cause like random latency. So that could be a problem as well, but I think I can probably tune it where it's just every once in a while, and most of the time the experience should be pretty good, but we'll have to see. Alright, so I'm letting the listener know that I changed a thing, and I'm creating a new monster. Okay, so that should be good enough. Good enough. All right. I have this sign over here. Okay. So on movement, that's fine. Make movement packet. Okay, so I'm going to need to reuse that, but where's my loop? Alright, so handling the peer stuff, let it clear, and then oh, this could actually this whole section could actually cause a problem, like if that crashes. I'm not sure that I want to stop it from crashing right now, though, because the particular... I'm going to put it to do in for this, so I don't forget to do it later. So what I really need is a recovery mechanism there. So to do error handling and peer recovery logic. Because we don't want to just catch that and then go ahead and clear, because then some of the users will never be able to log in. So what we want to do is loop over all of them, do all of the ones that we can, and then figure out what to do with the ones that didn't go through. But right now we're just clearing that whole collection after we get to the end of like all the ones, well, it's all the ones that were logged in. I take back everything I just said. Just going to put these in here. Alright, so if it doesn't explode, then it'll add to that collection, and then it'll get removed from the logged in peers. And then I'll just add, instead of throwing, I don't know why that's the default, let's go put a trace in there. Okay. I don't need this to do anymore. That was a nice little distraction, eh? Alright, so I'm going to do something similar here. So we don't want... can I do a for each on a queue? I don't believe I've tried that. My guess is no. Does that actually work? That'd be pretty funny if that actually worked. Been using C# for like 20 years and I've never actually tried to loop over a queue. It's not yelling at me. Well, let's give this a go here. I mean, I guess as long as it implements IEnumerable, it should work. The question is whether it's actually popping them off. I don't know what this actually does. No, I don't trust that this is gonna work. It's probably just gonna show me all of the internal values. That's not actually what I want to do. So if it is not empty. Equal. Try DQ. Okay, because it's concurrent, so I may not be able to do that. That makes sense. Out parameter. Actually, I think I can do that inline. I don't remember the syntax though, but I'm pretty sure that's a thing. I had it right to begin with. All right. Okay. All right. So this could theoretically go on for forever, though. It could get stuck. Just looping over this. However, that would mean that something's preventing it from dequeuing that. Which shouldn't be an issue. Should be low contention on this queue because that spawner is only running every 30 seconds, so there's no way that should stop this. Yeah, I think this should be fun. Okay. And then I'm going to borrow some logic from over here. All right. And for this, right. So I need, this is fine for now, but update spawner to other layers. Yeah, I'm only dealing with the one layer now, but I need to modify this so that I'm saying as modifying the other layer. Yeah, I need to push that into the other queues so that no matter what layer somebody's attached to, they'll get this message, but I can handle that later. Don't want this to turn into a 4-hour video chasing all these rabbit holes here. All right. So I can take that out of here because I'm going to add notify to the other places. So then it gets to here and it should just work. All right, so DQ the ID, build my packet, and then broadcast. All right. like C line, assuming it's going to cooperate with me here. Nope, doesn't look like it. There we go. Okay. That's another thing I'm going to have to do is, if I do end up upgrading my computer, I'm probably going to get an actual capture card, because this window capturing works better, but like I actually get events in a reasonable time, like the changes show up, but causes some additional problems. Like it doesn't like to always show different windows and switching. So okay, I believe I already wired up monsters in the network manager. Let me just double check. Okay, on move. Getting this player type, monster type. Okay. And then I'm adding here. Okay, so theoretically that should be fine. What I will need to do though is I'm spawning at 0, 0. But I have a static object right there for testing, so I need to comment that out. Complete side note, this is actually something I'm pretty happy about. So there's a lot of template magic that's going on around these structs. So it occurred to me that the way I was doing updates is I was passing in like this fixed set of parameters, and I don't always need to update the same stuff. But on the flip side, when I'm getting things back from like the network stack, for example, I'm getting data back, and then I either have to map it to parameters or build like another object or something and pass it in. At least that's what I was doing. So what I changed though is I made some fancy templates, basically. Used a bunch of templating tricks and const expert to make it so that I can pass in a struct even if it's like an anonymous struct, and it will at compile time figure out whether the struct that's being passed into it has certain properties, and if it has those for the updates, it will actually set those appropriately and then just ignore everything else. So everything's essentially optional except for the ID. I always need the ID. And then for adding, it's the same deal. It's just there I have to insert in all the collections, so I just use the default value. So I'm like actually extremely pleased about that. But the reason why I brought that up is that's one of the pieces I'm gonna have to comment out right now is one of those calls. It's cube struct, but you can see I'm making an anonymous struct that I just called cube, and I'm saying it has an ID and it has the animation set index. And actually, I don't actually have to include that there because 0 is the default value. But it's breedable. You at least know what model by at a glance that it's getting. All right, so that's commented out. Let's build this guy. While that's building, I will go ahead and fire up the server. So if all goes well, what we'll end up with is after 30 seconds, well, actually it might be faster than that because the server's got a head start, but after a few seconds, we should see our monster spawn in, which right now it's just going to be a cube. Keeping in mind there's no combat or anything like that in the game yet. Okay. So let me restart and do this faster so I can actually see whether it popped in. Because I just commented out the static object, but I want to make sure that it's not a false positive. Okay, so I don't see the cube. I'll give it a few seconds here and it should pop in somewhere. You can see like the look speed is way better now. I still have to look into why the... Oh, hey, there we go. We got a monster spawning into the world. It only took me like an hour. Alright, so obviously still got a lot of work to do. There's no targeting. The mouse is still showing. The heads-up display is extremely rough still. I basically haven't touched it since the video I made on that, but I think this is good enough for one session. Gonna call it a night. See ya.